It doesn't matter what emotional adventure we are all on. At some point in our lives, we will all experience pain and hurt. The decision we make is what role that pain or that hurt plays in our lives. Do we want to write that story ourselves or give that power to somebody else? In today's video, I want to talk to you guys about why pain and hurt is necessary. But before we get into the video, I wanted to welcome those of you who are new here. Welcome to my channel. My name is Bridget and I am a parent and mindset coach. I also just quickly want to mention my free Facebook group called Raising Me While Raising You, and it's an awesome community for parents who are likely on the same journey as you are if you've clicked on this video today. We talk about mindset, motivation, confidence issues. So if you are interested, I'm going to leave that link in the description below and I hope to see you there. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I post videos every single Tuesday and Friday. So with that being said, let's get into the video. Choosing to write our own stories is choosing courage over comfort. And by choosing courage, I mean choosing to be vulnerable and talking about how we feel, talking about all of those things that we always push down and don't want to talk about. Now, typically our bodies will respond physically to some kind of emotional event before our conscious minds do. And as humans, we are hardwired to protect ourselves, to fight or flee, right? So when something happens, something bad happens, we flee. We choose the comfort because we don't want to get hurt. We don't want to experience that pain. We disengage to self-protect. But there's a pattern between men and women who have successfully navigated all of those hard parts. They demonstrate the ability to account for emotion. And what I mean by accounting for emotion is acknowledging the emotion that they're experiencing and understanding how emotion and behavior and thoughts are all intrinsically connected. In Brene Brown's book, Rising Strong, phenomenal book, by the way, and I've talked about this a couple times on the channel before, but she has this theory called the Rising Strong Reckoning. And in it, there's two parts. The first part is engaging with our feelings, and the second part is getting curious about where the feelings are coming from and how they are connected to our thought and our behavior. The first step is recognizing that we're experiencing an emotion. But remember, it's our physical bodies that are responding first. So being able to recognize that we're experiencing an emotion before our bodies go into that fight or flight mode is critical. It's the difference between starting a fight with your partner or your child when you're getting angry or upset or confused or frustrated or any of that, instead of telling them how you feel. It's the difference between getting mad at a coworker or your boss instead of letting it go or taking a stand. And I know all of you have that one conflict or moment in the past week even where you regret what you said or what you did to your partner or your child or your coworker or anyone in your life, where you felt like your emotions almost hijacked you. I know I definitely had one of those moments this week. And sometimes it's not even a physical response. It's the feeling you get when your thoughts start to race when you're experiencing an emotion. You're not sure what the emotion is, but you get these racing thoughts and you start replaying that one scene over and over again in slow motion. Yeah, I've done that too. When I experience shame or resentment or judgment, I get like tunnel vision and all I can think about is that specific moment. It's slowing down in my head. All of these thoughts are coming up and I can't even figure out what I'm feeling. I just know that I can't control what's going on in my mind. But recognizing an emotion is not just physically giving the thought that we have a name. Like, I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling hurt. It's recognizing and becoming more aware that our thoughts, our emotions, and our behaviors are connected. So it's bringing all of the parts together. Now, going back to Brene's Rising Strong Reckoning, step 2 is getting curious. Getting curious about why we're experiencing this emotion. And you don't have to have a definitive answer, because sometimes you don't even know why you're experiencing this emotion. Oftentimes, I find myself experiencing a feeling after a buildup of events. So I have many fights with my husband, often the same fight with him, and he can do one thing and it will set me off. But this emotion that I'm feeling isn't because of that one thing. It's because of the many things that I just never explicitly said. So asking yourself, instead of getting a definitive answer, asking yourself questions like, what is setting me off right now? Why do I feel like I want to punch this wall? Why does my stomach feel like it's in knots right now? Or I can't stop replaying this moment in my head. Why? What gets in the way of accounting for emotion and getting curious about emotion is oftentimes fear. Nobody likes fear. We like to watch somebody do something fearful, but we don't like to experience fear ourselves. We don't want the pain, we don't want the criticism, and we don't want the judgment. We don't like how difficult these emotions feel. We don't like sitting with the discomfort, and we worry what people might think. Our instinct is to run from that pain, and there's a reason for that. I don't know about you guys, but I was never taught emotional education in my life. And I think the majority of us can say that we were never taught how to sit with that discomfort or communicate that discomfort. So instead, we deny it, we suppress it, and we pretend like it doesn't exist. But the problem with that is that when you're a parent, or when you yourself can't understand how to successfully navigate those emotions and be comfortable with vulnerability, how can you teach that? So if you didn't have a mentor in your life who successfully showed you emotional education, then likely you don't know how to do it yourself, unless you've taken the time to put in the effort to understand and figure it out. So it's no wonder that dumping these emotions and denying these emotions has become a habit for most of us. But by doing so, we're creating not only distance within ourselves, but within all of our relationships. And the ironic part is that we so desperately crave that emotional connection, that real, rich, deep emotional connection with people. Yet we're so afraid to be vulnerable and truly show our whole selves. So instead, we look to and consume anything we can that is emotional. You know, we watch the horror movies, all the fear shows, the comedies, the romance, because we so desperately want to feel it all. But you'll never experience those emotions unless you get uncomfortable, unless you're vulnerable with somebody. I was never taught emotional education. My parents never taught me, and it was certainly not included in the education system. There was one person in my life that I was ever curious with, and that was my dad. And so after my dad passed, I never had that person in my life who was curious themselves, not only about the world, but about their self, about their emotions, about their experiences, about how hard life is, about how hard it is to feel emotions. You know, my mom suppressed her emotions. She had severe anxiety and depression, so she suppressed those feelings with booze and gambling and, you know, and anything else that she could to drown those out. And I kind of developed a similar coping mechanism. So I was a binge eater, and that led me to a place where I felt even more judged and more criticized. So it just became this spiral of feeling like I was going to be judged for being curious, so holding things in, and then going to some other place to kind of suppress those feelings, and then feeling more judged about doing that. And so I never really got out of that phase until I moved out of my mom's, and I tried to get as many good mentors in my life, good family members in my life to take me in. But still, I wasn't able to express myself. I wasn't able to get curious about some of the pain that I had experienced. So I held it in. I tried to be strong, and that was like a coping mechanism. And guess what? That doesn't last for too long. You know, at some point, you just implode. So I made a lot of bad decisions in high school and in college, and I don't regret any of those decisions. They ended up making me who I am, but I think I definitely could have avoided some of those mistakes and some of that pain if I learned to be curious, if I learned to sit with discomfort. But I know now from experiencing all of those things, like, you know, I wouldn't take it back for the world. All of that made me who I am. But I know now how to develop more meaningful connections and relationships in my life, and experiencing all of these different emotions, no matter how painful and fearful it may be. Because I'm choosing to be curious. I'm choosing that vulnerability over that comfort. And I would choose that courage over comfort any day. Choosing to be curious is choosing to be vulnerable, because it requires us to let go of that certainty. And you know how we all love certainty. We want to know exactly what's going on in the world around us. We see it in the news. That's what the news exists. We have to know everything all the time. The unfortunate part is that we're all born curious, right? Think about how curious babies can be. They want to touch this and that and smell this and taste that and all these things. But at some point, we all lose that curiosity because we know it can lead to pain and it can lead to hurt. So we stop being curious. We turn on to that self-protecting mode, and we stay silent and we stay comfortable, and we don't want to experience pain because that's bad. It's bad for you. We shouldn't do that. And you know what? We never get to experience the good parts. If you don't experience the bad parts, you'll never see the good parts. And I think about all the shows and the movies and the good songs and the greatest artwork. All of that wouldn't exist without pain. The best stories and the best music and the best art has always come from a place of pain and a place of discomfort. And so in order to connect the dots of our lives, to understand ourselves and to integrate ourselves fully, we have to understand the painful parts of our lives. You know, the parts that we wish we could erase and skip over? Those are the parts that matter. Those are the parts that connect ourselves. And those parts come up when we experience these emotions, when we have these thoughts and we exhibit these behaviors, because they make us who we are. So if I could leave you with one thing in today's video, I want to challenge you to be more courageous in what you choose. Choosing to be curious, choosing to be vulnerable, choosing to understand yourself fully. Engage with your emotions. Ask yourself those questions. Get curious about where these thoughts are coming from and how you can connect them into being vulnerable with the people in your life. Before I end today's video, I just wanted to mention that spots for my free consult are open. So if you are a parent, you're on this journey of confidence and mindset change and motivating yourself to have more authentic relationships with your kids and other people in your life, I really urge you to sign up for the consult. You'll get a chance to chat with me, talk about what you are struggling with, and we'll see how I can help and see if we're a good fit. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and I will see you guys next time.